From Keenan Stadium in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, this is TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm Jacob Turner. He's Andrew Jones. And AJ, we're back on the Keenan Stadium turf following North Carolina's 40-7 victory over Syracuse. And before we dive into this one, AJ, because I know we're going to dive headfirst into it, I do want to give a thank you to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this show. Big thank you to them. We'll talk about them a little bit later on, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But AJ, I mean, just a dominant win. We actually, Tez Walker's kind of been the topic of conversation this week. He's not out anymore. He was out there with his family a few minutes ago for a while hanging out and then disappeared down the tunnel again. But really good day for North Carolina. I tweeted kind of jokingly, the only thing that was really missing from today was kind of a Tez Walker touchdown. That was really the only thing that you could,
Could have happened over there.
Oh, I know. On the McCullum, deep McCullum pass that he caught on the 1 year. Yeah, Tez was wide open in the left, too. And I thought it was cool, too, because Tez, I think he put his arms up like it was going to be a touchdown when the ball left.
He put his arms up because he was open.
It was one or the other. I didn't know. I couldn't tell in the replay if he was like celebrating or like, "Come on, Drake, you got to hit me there." That's what dreams are made of. But didn't happen. But I do not think he cares when you look at how well Carolina played.
I missed. Tez had a big catch over here in the sideline.
There was one right over there that was really good.
McCollum, they had some kind of a handshake gesture thing that I didn't see. So hopefully it's on. Hopefully it's on on TV. So if you watch on TV.
I don't think I got it on my offensive ISO. Stay tuned for that.
When I run it back, I'll look. But,
yeah.
They're adding new stuff. We're going to talk about that later. But they're adding new stuff, and it's already getting chilly, and they're still adding stuff.
It is getting chilly out here. I had to put the pullover on the second half. Yeah. You can stay warm over there.
Know that I can smell snow in the air anytime it drops below 70. So
I put my.
That's for you, Kevin Roy.
Kevin Roy's still in the photo room over there working hard. So shout out Kevin Roy for putting in those long hours tonight. Still got a long drive back as well. So love the dedication. AJ, we'll go ahead and dive into this, and we'll start with the offense because we score 40 points. You kind of have to start with the offense. Just really good today. Over 600 yards total offense. I forgot how many touchdowns they scored. I could do the quick math in my head, but I can't.
Well,
I'm not that good.
So 4 touchdowns, 4 field goals.
That's why AJ's here for that quick math that he has. He's very, very talented at that. But just a all-around really good offensive display. He had multiple wide receivers getting involved. I think rushing the ball still not great. Still a little bit of work to be done there, but it was good. No 100-plus yard rusher for the Tar Heels, but still, I think Hampton led the way with 70-plus, and Drake had some as well. So still ran the ball pretty well. But again, when you have 600 yards total offense, you're going to take that all day of the week. So what are your thoughts on the offense?
Well, I'm racking my brain right now because in the first quarter alone, they had 9 runs that went 9 yards, and then they had a 217-yarder.
That reminds me, they did average about 10 yards per play as well. So.
Well, I thought they ran the ball pretty well. And what we saw was the Willie Lampkin effect. We talked about that, right?
Yeah, he's big time.
In the first 2 games, 2 sacks allowed, and they had 103 yards by British, and then the big game from Omarion in the second game. And then the 2 games he missed, 7 sacks allowed. They averaged 2.4 yards a rush. So we saw the Willie Lampkin effect. He's their best offensive lineman, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
And so far, the productivity of the offense when he plays versus when he doesn't kind of backs that up. But I thought the line in general did well. Diego Pounds played well today. The inside runs were working some. And Omarion ran really well. I think this is the best I've seen Omarion run. Disregard the yards. It's the way he runs. He's decisive. So he's getting better. He's better than he was when he went for 234 against App. Forget that. It's what he's doing against a P5. He's decisive. The first hit never brought him down.
Yeah,
it required the second hit. Mm-hmm. And then he had a run down there in the corner. Gosh, it was first quarter. He turned the corner. I wouldn't say it's a sweep. Do they run sweeps anymore in football? The old toss sweep, Green Bay Packers. It was kind of like a sweep, and he turned the corner on the edge as precisely and sharply as I've seen him do. He's getting better. And then when you get a little bit of blocking, you get a chance to churn your wheels some, that helps. But Drake was awesome today.
Yeah, he was.
Some of the early misses, the shovel pass, and there was a drop, and then he had one really bad ball in the corner of the end zone that he threw. But otherwise, he was really good. We saw him throwing downfield. I've talked here in the last 2 weeks about how I think they need to attack more. They need to go directly downfield more. And we did eventually see the Tez effect.
Yeah.
The play we were talking about, when McCollum caught the ball, it's like a 48-yarder down the 1-yard line. That's the first time today we saw the Tez effect. And I asked Drake, was that the Tez effect? Because what I mean is, you got a guy that can take the top off. You got a guy that has to be covered for whatever the length of the field is. You got to cover him. I'm not sure that they had guys at that level that had to be covered previously. I think Nate is a guy that has to be covered there, but more so now that Tez is in the field. Tez being there allows Nate's game to stretch more. It allows Kobe's game to stretch more. It allows Bryson Nesbitt's game to stretch more. That's the Tez effect. Drake said, yes, that was an example of the Tez effect, and I think I tweeted that out that time too. So we're watching an offense that still isn't what I think it's going to be.
Yeah.
Because they leave points on the field every week. They had 4 field goals today. They weren't scoring. They didn't have as high a percentage of touchdowns in the red zone. They had 14 touchdowns and 17 red zone appearances coming in. Kind of dropped that back a little bit. I think they had 3 of the field goals, maybe all 4 field goals. All 4 field goals were in the red zone, I believe.
I think
the longest field goal was 36 yards. So yeah, that was snapped from the 19. So, but that's okay. They still got points. And hey, Noah Burnett, remember him? He actually lost the job to Ryan Coe before the opener against South Carolina. Coe's the one who missed the field goal at the end of regulation against App State. And Burnett's not kicking because of that miss. Coe got hurt.
Oh, I know.
He's in civvies, man. He's in shorts and a jersey out here today. Burnett's 7 for 7. 4 for 4 today. Career high, first Carolina field goal kicker in a long time to kick 4 field goals in a game. So much was working. And when you're not getting in the end zone as much as you want to, if you've got a guy that's splitting the uprights, you just slowly add on to the lead.
Yeah.
So I do think 600 and some odd yards, you should get more than 40 points. And they know it too. And I think that's kind of the theme here with this program. They're treating every win like a loss because you're going to go back and fix things didn't go right. So there's still going to be enough to pick at for 600 yards and 40 points because they should have been in the 50s. And that's a sign of how good this team can be. And I think has a good chance of actually being. They're adding parts. They get Tez back. He didn't practice on offense last week basically at all. He's been running scout team for 3 weeks. So this coming week, he'll be in the rotation on offense during the week of practice. They'll have more stuff for him. So you'll see more of the Tez effect, I think, against Miami and moving forward. Oh, and Drake, some of those runs, you could tell he didn't want to slide.
Yeah, he doesn't.
One time he slid down over here, and he had to look at the goal line and say, man, I can get there. But the maturity in him and growth by just getting down
it's big.
It's huge because he's the most important player they have, and he was Drake today.
Yeah.
In fact, in my 5 takeaways, I think I have Drake was Drake is one of my things.
He was really good. And real quick, you stay on a couple of things. I just want to hit on that McCullum pass because I'm glad you mentioned it because you're talking about that's why it's the Tez effect. Go watch the play again. Who does Drake May look off before he throws it to McCullum? He's looking dead at Tez Walker. And that's another reason why McCullum was wide open. So, again, that's the point you're illustrating, but just seeing it on the field view and seeing the replay, I saw some people talking about it on Twitter as well. He's looking over here, kind of fakes it, and then McCullum's wide open. So
that's not the first time, or the only time, rather, that they're both going to be wide open, making a beeline to the end zone this year.
Not too bad, deep options.
And let me go back to last year very quickly since you brought that up, because I thought one of the things that happened late last year was they got too reliant on Josh Downs.
Yeah.
Okay, we got Antoine on the outside, we got Josh. Let's get to Josh. Josh was the ultimate safety valve. And the rest of the receiving attack kind of was there but wasn't there. I mean, J.J. Jones would get 75 reps a game and get 2 targets, and it wasn't because J.J. wasn't getting open. I just think they went in safety mode some.
Yeah.
Now, they don't need to do that because they got a lot of guys. Kobe making that huge play. Kobe Paysor is really good. He's really talented, really good. You're going to see more of what he did today. And Drake said he wants that to be on SportsCenter, so if it is, then Drake will be happy about that. And he said he saved him because he actually wasn't. He said it wasn't a great ball.
Yeah.
Kobe ended up making a great play. But they're going to get increasingly explosive. And the run game, if you get 200 yards, don't talk balance saying, we got 400 passing, 200 rushing. Mac actually made the comment, well, we really weren't balanced tonight. And like, dude. And then he caught himself. You run for 200 yards. Whatever you get passing, if it's over that, you're balanced and you're good to go. 200 yards rushing, they'll take in the bank right now, every game moving forward the rest of the year.
100%. And real quick, I just want to speak, by the way, Drake at ESPN, I did have a fantastic angle on that Paysor touchdown pass from that end zone. So if ESPN, if you're watching, if you need a clip, send it my way. I'll charge a little bit for it, of course. But if you need a great angle on that clip besides your TV angle, yeah, $10 at least. $10 a second.
In a cold draft.
$10 a second on that one. I gotta get my money up a little bit. Last thing I want to mention.
Make up for what I don't have.
Last thing I want to mention real quick, AJ. Ben Kiernan, I guess, got injured today on that play. Did get the first down. Really, the punt was blocked for those who don't remember, and he ran it. Ended up getting the first down. Yeah. Had a knee brace on and did go back to the locker room and came back out in street wear. So I don't know what his stat. I don't know if Mac talked about that. I just wanted to mention that because I didn't see it.
Talked about the play. Drake said that Lee Pace, who works for UNC Southern Port, he tweeted out a photo of Ben's face mask. They had taken off the helmet, was bent.
No way.
Yeah, it looked like something from the 50s. It was great. Like those early face masks.
You probably love that, dude.
Oh, my God.
You probably screen it. It's probably his wallpaper right now.
Oh, absolutely. So Drake said that Ben was telling everybody to come to his locker and see his face mask. That face mask is like his pride and joy now, and it should be.
Yeah.
Because that was a hell of a play.
It was.
I mean, they got to get that shield on the punt team fixed.
Yeah, it's got to be better, yeah.
And they got some issues in special teams, but that was a terrific play by Ben Kiernan, a presence of mind, and I think it was a fortuitous bounce. Mm-hmm. But he got the first down. I thought he was a little bit short.
I did too.
I thought it was a pretty good spot. Whatever, he got the first down. They scored on that drive, and I thought at the time it was 3-0. Otherwise, Syracuse would have started around the 20-yard line. Could have been a different game.
Absolutely.
But Carolina, Syracuse did everything it had to do. They got the stop. They blocked the punt. And next thing you know, the Tar Heels, it turned into a 94-yard drive, even though they started at their own 20. Because once the punt was blocked, that's yardage.
Yeah.
So it didn't start line of scrimmage anymore. It was a new point. So they had a 94-yard drive that started at the 20-yard line. Just quirky stuff, but that was a hell of a play. That's a big play. I thought it was one of the biggest plays of the game.
It was a big momentum. We kind of guys going.
Demoralizing for Syracuse. They did everything they had to do against this offense here in this place, and then they ended up scoring a touchdown. So
yeah, credit to Ben Kiernan for that. We'll see what his status is during the week. AJ, before we move on to the second thing, here's a quick word from our sponsor at Underdog Fantasy. Yes, guys, we are so excited to be partnered with Underdog Fantasy, and we decided to partner with Underdog because it's the easiest place to play fantasy sports, and it's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry right now as well. And Underdog Fantasy has so much to offer, including their Pick'em game. And in Pick'em, you pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. It's so easy to play. Just pick 2 to 5 stats of your favorite players and choose whether they'll go higher or lower. You can 20x your money by going just 5 for 5. They also have a Best Ball Mania. If you think you know football, you need to check this one out. This year's Best Ball Mania has $15 million in total prizes up for grabs, with the winner taking home $3 million. So sign up today with the promo code HEEL, HEEL, and get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store. And don't forget to register with that promo code HEAL to get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. And if you're concerned with your play, call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ncpgambling.org. Back to the show. Big thank you to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this show. All right, AJ, let's talk about the defense a little bit, because when you hold a team to 7 points in the ACC, you got to talk about the defense a little bit. I thought they were really good today as well. Syracuse under, I believe it was 221 yards of total offense, forced 2 turnovers, just looked really good. And we've seen this defense kind of build as the season's gone on. Really good performance against South Carolina. Maybe take a bit of a step backwards against App, but they didn't play as well. And then they bounced back with a really good performance against Minnesota and similar way at Pitt. And it was funny because I was on Twitter. You know how Twitter can be, AJ. But I was on Twitter for the Pitt game, and Carolina gave up that opening drive, and so many people were bringing out the fire Gene Chizik, fire Mac. The defense sucks again. And I remember responding to multiple Carolina fans like, do not judge this team and do not judge this defense until this game is over, because this is the first drive. You can't just fire everybody because you let up an opening drive. I know it's frustrating from a fan's perspective, but this defense has made a lot of improvements, even going back to last year, which we've talked about a ton. Yeah. But I thought today was kind of a culmination of all those improvements that we've seen. And I think we saw a really good product out on the field today for a number of different reasons. So the defense, again, really good from start to finish. I guess the only negative on there would be the opening drive in the second half that Syracuse scored on, but that's just me being nitpicky.
And that was fluky.
Yeah, and that's me being nitpicky.
Mac thought Tayon Holloway had that pick.
Yeah.
I think it's a great film room play for Tayon. 2 things in there. He'll play the ball better next time, and that's a weight room play too. He's got to get a little bit stronger. That'll all get taken care of next offseason. Garrett Schrader's good, and they got good players on that team, so they're going to get one every once in a while. I thought the game plan to contain Schrader and how the players executed the game plan was perfection. He had an 18-yard run on like a 3rd and 1. He only converted 2 first downs. He had 21 first downs with his legs coming into this game, and he had 2 tonight. And both, I think, were in the second half, or one may have been late in the first half. But he had an 18-yard run, but he finished 10 carries, 28 yards, and he is their offense. He's their engine. He is who they are. I thought Carolina did a great job with their gaps and also containing the edges. They didn't let him get around the edge. There was one play around this area. It was the play that Cedric forced the fumble that Syracuse recovered and then punted. Kedrick Bingley-Jones, who has been battling injuries since he got here, he was a big-time 4-star kid, never gotten healthy. He's been way behind, and good for him for he's getting on the field some now. The way he played that, someone in the press box like he's getting blocked. No. He fleshed the play out and protected the edge over there, and that's what made Schrader stop. And he started to cut, and who was there? 33. 33's always there. He strips the ball. Carolina didn't fall on it, but still was a great play. But that play Cedric made was because Bingley-Jones did what he did. They executed Gene's game plan to perfection today. They boxed in Garrett Schrader. They basically said, you're going to play from maybe just outside each hash mark to just outside each hash mark. They squeezed in the size of the field for him to play today, and they're not so talented that they can handle that. He's good. And by the way, I think he could play a receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, he probably could.
I love him as an athlete. I think he can earn money at the next level. But today he didn't earn much because Carolina shut him down. Great game plan, great execution. And Trey Scott's writing a piece about the defense. Max said last year every once in a while, we score too fast. The defenses get right back on the field. They're deep, and they only played 22 snaps on defense in the first half. Yeah. So they were really, really good. You got to see how good they were, so they were constantly fresh. I thought a lot of the time they were putting pressure on Schrader, and they were covering. They were forcing him to get rid of the ball quickly, and they were in coverage. So all the complaints about all that soft coverage, teams that get it out quickly, there's nobody there, well, they were there. They were in coverage. They softened a little bit in the second half, but they also had a big lead, and the objective then is team's going to get back in the game with big plays, not picking its way down the field. So they adjusted their philosophy some, which was the right thing to do. This is a great defensive performance. It was. 22. Drake completed one more pass, 23 in the first half, than Syracuse ran plays.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It was 59-22 in plays, first half. Bravo to the defense. I'm not a big bravo guy, but, man, sitting up there, I've seen some real horrid defenses play in this stadium and wear that color, and it's fascinating to watch how quickly they've gotten very good. They've given up 13 points. The defense has, this isn't counting kickoff returns, in 4 second halves against Power 5 teams.
Pretty good.
And by the way, they now their average margin of victory over 4 Power 5 teams is 21.8 points.
Wow.
This is a good football team.
It is a good football team.
And they played complimentary football tonight at a very high level.
Agreed.
And can get better.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to talk about right now, AJ, because we always kind of wrap these up with what this means. Big win for Carolina, 5-0. Miami on the horizon next weekend here in Chapel Hill. That's going to be a big-time matchup. They're currently playing Georgia Tech right now, so I think it was 0-0 we checked, but it was early on. I agree with what you said. I think this is a good football team right now. But it is a football team that has the potential, in my opinion, to get even better. Yeah. They, like you mentioned, offense still leaving some touchdowns out there. I think the defense, there's still some steps that the defense can take, and I think they will take, and they will play tougher opponents. I think we talked about it in the pregame show this week. We weren't really sure how good Syracuse was, but you can't take away from North Carolina. I think Syracuse is a decent football team. Carolina made them look very, very bad today, and that's credit to North Carolina on both sides of the ball. So in terms of what this means, I think if you're a Carolina fan, you got to be feeling pretty good. I think if you're in that locker room right through that tunnel right there, you got to be feeling pretty good for a number of different reasons. I think if you're Mac Brown sitting in that office right up there, you got to be feeling pretty dang good. His light's off. He's around here somewhere.
No, he's at home watching stuff.
True. Head home after.
And he'll watch the game and
and mark it all up and talk about all the bad things they did. Yeah, that's what good football teams do. So
Gene is watching the game because he watches it 3 times.
Does he really?
He watches it twice before he goes to bed, and then he watches it another time.
That's dedication, man.
Sure that's
so he's not going to bed till 4 a.m. tonight. Sounds like AJ.
I'll get clarification on that Monday, but I think that's what he does.
Let us know, guys. Who goes to bed first tonight? Gene Chiswick or Andrew Jones? Let us know in the on Twitter, or let us know on message boards.
My wife's working, and Ellie's home right now.
Oh, okay.
So, but bless her heart, she can handle that for a while.
Yeah.
I'll start getting "Daddy, I'm scared" text messages in about a half hour, and I'll be banging stuff away. So if you see more typos than usual, and there's usually a few, that's because I'm rushing to get home to my daughter.
Give us a little leeway, guys. But AJ, talk about what this means for North Carolina, because I agree with you. I think this team has the potential to be a really good football team.
Yeah. I asked Cedric. I think we talked about it in our football show.
Yes.
I asked him on Tuesday, scale of 1 to 10, where is this team? And he said 7.58. So I brought it up tonight. Said, so what was tonight? 9.5, 9.7, because of 1 to 10, you can't have a punt block and it be a 10.
Yeah.
You can't leave touchdowns on the field and it be a 10. And he said 9.5, and that's just tonight. They have to now stack that. I think one of the things that they're doing, and Brandon and I talked about this in the press box, and Trey, is remember a year ago, they would make some really good defensive plays, and sometimes they make 2 in a row, and they give up they'd be terrible on a play. This club's learning to stack defensive plays and then series, and now they're stacking games. And they're doing it offensively as well, and they're also doing it with their preparation. My column, I haven't written it yet. I think I'm going to write about standard. That might not be exciting to some people. Oh, God, AJ's going to write about standard.
It's important, though.
It's a boring topic, right?
Very important.
I'm telling you right now, the last part of Mac's process in building this program was getting the standard to be the norm. And it's not always peak performance. The standard is the approach and how you go about things. And so I asked him tonight, he was talking a little bit about standard, and I said, is this where it needs, is this what you've been building? The hardest thing to build is the standard where Tuesday's practice is fully connected to Saturday's game and all the days in between, where the preparation, Sunday, when you put a game to bed, you go and get your steak and lobster and move forward. All that is done at a standard. The standard begins up here. It's also here. And then it's everything else. And I think that's what we're seeing. They're stacking the standard, and the standard's getting stronger and getting more fortified, so the performances are.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing. That's what happens when teams become something special. You can't become something special by accident, especially when you're North Carolina in football. Even Ohio State and Alabama don't become special by accident. There's a lot that goes into it. There are standards. I think one of the most impressive things Mac has done is that he has been shaking the tree since he arrived. And there were a lot of things that had to fall off. But there's also a lot of things that have to kind of accrue on the tree as well. So the tree now bears no resemblance to the one that he started shaking in, late November 2018. It's a different tree. It's a tree that's got a lot of 3-star guys that are damn good players who can play in the NFL. I was walking out with one of them, Cedric Gray, 3-star guy, wide receiver, not a ton of people want him. He's going to play in the NFL. Cayman Rucker. When that happens, and you're able to continue winning when a lot of the 4-star kids don't develop for whatever reason, it's because there's a standard. It's because there's a culture. It's because there's a standard. It's because the staff knows what they're doing. They got smart kids. So this team learns from lessons. They learned in the first 2 drives at Pitt. They made adjustments, didn't happen again. They learned when they lost the last 4 last year. They bring it up all the time. We don't have to ask them about it.
Yeah, they do.
Drake talked about it today. Cedric brought it up today. They know it. And they have all of the faculties in place to self-correct. You said we were hanging out over there, player-led team.
Yeah, that's so big.
They've got so many boxes checked. They still have to get better. I think they're still going to get better. Because they're just adding parts. They just got maybe their second best offensive player today. And he just kind of ran around and got his feet wet.
Yeah.
So what's it going to be next week? What's it going to be in 2 weeks when UVA comes in here? A lot of teams are losing people. They're gaining them here. They got Willie Lampkin back today. Legend Cavazos should be back here pretty soon.
He played a little bit towards the end. I don't know if you saw it, but just a little bit. But he was back.
Exactly. Gavin Blackwell
played.
Yeah. So they're getting better. And you're seeing them stack good stuff.
It's a good football team, man. It really is.
It's a good team. I'm telling you right now that some of the people out there nationally are starting to sort of hint at, okay, who's outside the so-called CFP bubble right now that has a chance of coming in? Well, this team right here has a chance of doing that if they continue to stack. If the standard and culture are everything that we've seen, and I've been around this program a lot, and I was telling you guys back in the summer this was different. It has done nothing to disappoint in that sense. It's more than what I thought it was. So we'll see. Next week will be huge. It'll be by far their biggest test. And maybe their biggest test until Duke or perhaps Clemson or perhaps until Charlotte on the first Saturday in December. So we'll really know next week. But as of this point, they're going this way. A lot of other teams are doing this. They're not. App State was a one-off.
Yeah, they learned from it.
And they had the one bad, or not even bad practice, the one mediocre week of practice all season was that week, and they learned from it, and they still got to win. Mm-hmm. You know, everyone needs one of those games. Everyone's going to have them, and they had theirs already, so we'll see.
It's a good football team, man. Carolina, I think, like you said, I think they're trending up. I think if you're a Carolina fan, you should be super excited and looking forward to the rest of the year because even when you look at the schedule, too, there's a lot of winnable games out there. Miami's going to be a test, no doubt about it, but I think when you're talking about them coming to Chapel Hill, I think you got to be feeling pretty good about that, especially with this team.
Let me add to that because something that I've heard around this football program the last week and a half or so that I've heard for years covering this school's basketball program, and the one down the road, because I covered them for a long time too, was they play to I'm going back to standard a little bit. They play to their own standard. They play to their own expectations. They do what they do.
Yeah.
Don't worry too much about what the other ones do.
Yeah,
You prepare for them, obviously. You have a different game plan for Syracuse than you did for Pittsburgh. You'll have a different one for Miami. But the whole point is play the way you can play, or they would say the way we can play. Roy's and Dean's teams did it for decades. Kay's team did it for decades. This football team is now starting to talk that way. Mm-hmm. That's the height of confidence, but confidence that's not false confidence. There's that, oh, we can do it. Oh, Jimmy, you can climb the mountain when Jimmy can't get off the ground, right? That's BS confidence. This is legitimate stuff where they are seeing it come to life in front of them, and it's like they're starving for more, which is why they are continuing to ascend. It's a fascinating thing to chronicle. It really is.
It really is, man. And again, I think it's going to be a fascinating rest of the season to chronicle because it could be a really, really good one for the Tar Heels, AJ. Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one, man. Let's get the heck out of here. It's a little chilly. The breeze has picked up a little bit. I had to throw the pullover on. It's not really working anymore. I got to walk back to my car, which is going to take me 20 minutes. AJ's got to go write 15 articles up in the press box.
I got to warm my hands.
I got to get this video up for you guys as well. So we got a lot of work to do tonight, AJ. So we'll go ahead and run. I've been Jacob Turner. He's been Andrew Jones. Big thank you to Underdog Fantasy again for sponsoring this show. Keep it locked to TarHeelIllustrated.com for all your coverage from tonight's game. We'll have offensive ISO coming out on Sunday as well, so a ton of stuff coming out. There is a little Tez Walker pregame ISO out on the YouTube channel as well if you want to see that. Didn't do anything too crazy or exciting in warm-ups, but you want to just follow him around with the camera for a little bit, you can go watch that on our YouTube
Tez
channel
fever, man.
as
People
well.
are all over.
Oh, they're loving it, man. They are loving it. Guys, appreciate y'all watching as always. See you on the next one. Thanks.